Members, I'm going to tell you about a very, very special person, a special young man. It's with a real heavy heart that I rise today to request that we adjourn in the memory of Casey Rohrer, who was an incredibly bright young man who passed away earlier this year on February 21st. Beyond being a vibrant presence in his community, he was a playwright, an actor, a blogger, a motivational speaker, and an advocate for accessibility. And when you hear about his story, you'll be so impressed. It was a story of challenge and triumph from the very beginning. When he was born, May 22nd, 2002, he was entangled in the umbilical cord, deprived of oxygen, and his doctors told his parents, Matt and Beth, that he simply wasn't going to make it. Despite the prognosis and the eventual diagnosis of cerebral palsy, Casey would spend the next 20 years of his life pouring his heart, soul, and gifted intellect into his community and his art. When he was 7 years old, his world was opened up in this profound way by the introduction of Toby, which is an eye-tracking communication device that allowed him to be heard and crucially understood for the first time in his life. And he didn't waste a moment with his newfound voice, driving headlong into his passion for the arts through stage acting and playwriting. So with the help of this technology, which tracked his eye movement so as to allow him to communicate, his words and ideas flowed as if they'd been building up for the previous 7 years. In his own words, if I could write everything I am thinking, my words would reach to the sky. So he graced the stage in performances of Snow White, The Lion King, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Once Upon a Mattress, and he took creative control, and he wrote his first play, Once Upon a Road Trip, a theatrical window into his experience with cerebral palsy through the comedy of a road trip. And after a year of refining the script and rehearsing with his cast, Once Upon a Road Trip debuted at the Second Story Theater, marking an immense landmark on his creative journey. Casey strove for each of these landmark achievements, not just for himself or his art, but for all of the other kids like him who have faced obstacles and challenges throughout their lives. His evolution and maturation as an artist led him to share his journey through motivational speaking and disability rights advocacy. And alongside his mother, Beth, Casey was integral in the transformation of South Park in Hermosa Beach to be fully accessible for kids with disabilities. And he marked the ribbon cutting with the words, "All kids can play together now." Casey's memory and bringing legacy continue to be cherished by his loving parents, Matt and Beth, his siblings, Luca and Anna, his grandparents, Beverly Rohrer and Lon and Ann Palmer. Casey committed his life to breaking down the walls presented to him so that those after him would be able to access a world with less barriers. In his own words, "If I can go there, so can you." Colleagues, I ask that you join me today in celebrating the very special life and spirit of a remarkable fellow Californian by adjourning in the memory of Casey Rohrer.